I'm from Florida. Or you're
I'm actually in San Francisco, but I grew up in Florida, so I have an old phone number.
Oh, where did you grow up in Florida?
In the Tampa area.
That's what I thought. When I saw that area code, I thought it was my friend Megan calling me. She lives in Tampa. Yeah. Oh, very cool. I spent some time in Florida. I went to grad school at the University of Florida.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you live in San Francisco, and how did you hear about me?
I just through the internet. I was just searching for different animal communicators.
Great.
So that's something I've been curious about, and I found your website, and I kind of liked what you had to say on there.
Well, thank you so much. It's all from the heart, so I appreciate that. So let me tell you a little bit about the way that I work. So I go into a light trance and open up communication with your questions, and then what you will find is that information will kind of just start taking off and come flying in. So the questions are really kind of just an icebreaker to get us to make communication with Scott. And so it's your reading. You can direct it any way you want it to go. Another thing to note is that what I have to say is coming from the animal's perspective, so sometimes their perspective is different than ours, the way that they see things and feel about things. And if I repeat myself, it's because that message is coming through so clear. So it's very important that you know that. So that's why I sometimes will repeat myself, is because the information keeps being stressed to me that's important for you to know.
That's important. Okay.
Yeah. So do you have any questions before we get started?
I don't think so.
Okay, great.
No, that sounds right. That sounds familiar and clear.
Okay, good. So let me go into the light trance, and then we'll start with some questions that you have, and we'll see what comes in, okay?
Sure.
Okay, give me just a minute, and I'll tell you when I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we're connecting with Scotty, the cat, right?
Right.
Okay, and he's 9?
He is, yes.
Do you have other people in your home?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so are these members of a family? Are these roommates?
Yeah, I live with my partner.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay, perfect. And your partner's name?
His name is Craig.
Craig, okay. Are there any other animals in the home?
Yes, Scott has a brother, like a biological brother.
Okay. I'm only laughing because I picked that up before we even started talking, that there was somebody else in there. And what is the brother's name?
His name is Mathematics.
Very nice. I like that. Okay. All right, let's get started. What question can we open up with?
Sure. Well, Scott, it seems that he is sometimes a kind of anxious or frustrated sort of guy. Mm-hmm. And he cries a lot. Mm-hmm. When he's not napping or outside, he's crying a lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I guess I wanted to talk with him a little bit about
what that's
where
about.
That's coming from.
Sure. So he goes in and out?
He does.
Okay. All right. So let me see what we've got here. Okay. So he's saying that, all right. He's saying that he has two sides. He has two worlds that he kind of teeters on. He has his outside world, he has his inside world. And so it's almost as if he's playing two different roles. He's saying that when he's outside, it's almost like there's another, as I was saying, there's another life he has. And when he's inside and he's anxious and crying, it's usually, he's saying, because he wants to be out and he wants to have that stimulation. So that anxiety is because at heart he feels like he needs to keep tabs on that outside world. And when he gets inside, although he loves being the kitty and the pet, there's this other world out there that he gets anxious about when he's not keeping tabs on it. And he feels like he feels more in his element when he's outside. Now, I understand that, when you have indoor-outdoor cats, you have to be concerned for their safety, and they can't do everything and be everywhere that they want to be. But he has very much a hunter predator sign to him. So inside he may be like a docile guy. I see him being very playful, actually. But outside he's almost like this undercover spy, and he's really involved in that outside world. So I see that from the way he's showing me this, I read by pictures mostly, is that there's a feeling of not being in his element when he's taken away from that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think so.
Okay. And again, this is from his point of view. So when he's inside, is when the anxiety starts?
I think yes, but then also sometimes he'll come in from outside specifically with a lot of vocalization.
Okay.
So he's got the freedom to be outside. Then he'll also return with lots on his mind, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, let me go deeper with him on this. Okay, there's, have you noticed other cats in the neighborhood?
There are others, yes.
Yeah, okay. There's some, I don't see him getting in a lot of scrapes and fights. Has he experienced that within the last year?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, he looks pretty capable. So I'm asking him about, what is the report about? What is all of this about? And this is probably going to sound kind of strange to you, but he sees you as another cat. He doesn't see you as the human. He sees you as another cat. He feels like he wants to report to you and also share with you what he's experiencing. It can get kind of dicey out there, but again, he's very capable. And he feels like he wants to report to you. And there's also another cat that I'm seeing that there's a particular exchange with that he has. Now this cat, I'm seeing that it might be orange. Or have you noticed that?
No, not an orange cat.
Is there a cat that he's around that is larger or striped in some way?
There is a striped cat next door.
Okay, next door. Okay, what's that? Do you know that cat's name?
I don't remember it.
Okay, it's not important.
I haven't seen him around in a little while. I don't know if I did know it.
Okay. There's a lot of interaction, and I'm trying to pin down what kind of interaction between the two of them. It looks like they've got something that's almost like a shift thing going, where one will take over when the other one comes from the outside in, and it's like there's some other cat or cats that are trying to invade into their territory, which is your neighborhood. And so there's a lot going on out there that you probably don't even see much of. I don't know, maybe you hear it. But there's kind of like a Gangs in New York turf war thing going on. And I see this cat next door being a part of it, and trying to sort of hold ground and territory with Scott. So I'm feeling like he wants to share with you this information, he wants to report to you, and he also feels like you are capable of doing something about it. So when he comes in and he's...
That's the rub.
Yeah, that's the rub, exactly. And so when he comes in and you feel like, you know, he's being very vocal and he's really sharing with you, hey, this is happening, this is going on, and you need to do something about it.
I see.
Yeah. So that's what that's about. So the communication that I would like to give him is that that's not your place, that this is something that is not something that you can intervene on, that it's important for him to work this out on his own. But see, he relates to you so much like another cat that he really is like, hey, come out here, help me on this. What's the problem? How come you're not out here? This is going on. And it's not your role. It's not your place. It's so would you like me to give him that communication, or is there something else you'd like me to relay to him about this?
I would like you to relay, but I have one question too.
Yeah.
Something I was thinking of. You were mentioning something about shifts.
Yes.
And I wonder if you can ask him more about how that's working. Is it like a mandated, like, are the cats self-regulating these shifts?
Let me ask him. You mean rather than it being imposed on them?
Yeah, because sometimes with our other neighbors, our landlord's cat, we take turns outside. And I'm wondering which cat is causing more...
Oh, you take turns and when you let him out, you mean? Or when... Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so I'm asking him about this, and he's saying that sometimes he's supposed to be out there, and he can't get out there. He can't do his shift. So so is that because you're trying to keep him separate?
It could be.
Okay.
Yeah, our landlord's cat is the one female cat of... Basically, there's 2 yards that have 7 male cats and 1 female cat, so she gets very ganged up on.
Yeah.
And we've tried to take turns.
I see what you're saying.
Our cats and the 1 female cat, just to minimize that a little bit.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And I imagine that's hard for him to comprehend why he's being kept inside. Right.
So, together we can think of a way to communicate that to him so he can have that information. I would just suggest, putting it in the same terms that, she's vulnerable and she needs to have her time and her space outside without all the guys being out there. So maybe put it that way. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay.
It's just about sharing, and there's
yeah, let me give him
there's a limit to it. It won't be that he has to stay inside for forever. Which maybe sometimes is what's happening.
When is she in heat? Is that what you're saying?
Oh no.
Okay.
No, it's just that our cats get the weekdays and she gets the weekends.
Yeah.
a human timetable and
Exactly.
probably really
Exactly.
incomprehensible for cats.
Exactly. Let me give him this communication, because I think this will probably help him quite a bit to understand this, because he's telling me when he's being vocal, and it's almost as if he's like, look, you need to do something about this. He's saying that it doesn't make sense to him why he can't have what he wants, is basically what he's saying. So let me give him that communication. Hold on just a minute.
Okay.
Okay. Very receptive to that communication. There was really just a basic communication breakdown of not knowing why. When you have like the 4-year-old who keeps saying, why? But why? Why can't I do this? Why can't I have this? So I explained to him exactly how I told you I would, and he was like, okay. This doesn't make me any happier, but I get it. So the communication.
Humans are totally crazy.
Yeah. He's like, this doesn't make me any happier, but I get it. And he's also kind of a negotiator. He's like, how about if I go out there with her and everyone else stay inside, and then I can look out for her and protect her. But I also see that he's kind of fancies her in the same respect. So he'd like some time with her away from everybody else too. So sometimes that starts happening.
She might not like.
Exactly. But he's like, I would look out for her. And so he starts coming in with that, how he's sort of negotiating. But I'm letting him know that she needs her space and her time alone. So again, he's not thrilled about it, but he does get it.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's going to stop him from the pleading with you and trying to get you to make things different. But I am explaining to him what it is. So just let him know when he starts doing that it's not your time, it's her time to be out there. And give him communication yourself, because that just reinforces it. Because he knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah. He's adorable, by the way. He is so cute. He is so
He's a
cute.
good guy.
Yeah.
Cute.
So cute. And so I want to ask you about his name. Hold on one second. I have a microphone in my ear, believe it or not, and sometimes it falls out. His name, was he named in honor of someone or named for someone?
No, he wasn't.
Okay, because I'm wondering, because when I was talking to him before we got on the phone, I was asking him how he came to be in your life. And again, this is from his perspective. And he was showing me pictures that he found you. Now, I know that in most cases, that's not how we end up acquiring our animals. But he's saying that he found you. Do you know what he's talking about?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, and how did you...
That could just be a perception.
How did you get him and his brother?
At a shelter.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you came into the shelter, is when the thing is that he's showing me that he found you. So I think what it is he feels like were you with someone else?
Yeah. Me and my partner Craig, we were together.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you had them? Since they were little?
Yeah, since they were little. They were 6 months old.
Yeah.
When we got them.
Okay. So he saw you. you were looking and he saw you, and he's saying that he picked you guys, that you didn't pick him, he picked you. So I know your perception is that you picked them, but his perception is that it was sort of like wink wink, I think that's who we want, that's who we've been waiting for. So, and he's also saying that being in your lives are that he's been working with you on there's a lot of trust, he says, in being with him, and a lot of like having to trust him to kind of. Let me see what he's saying. Hold on. The trust is coming up, and that might be about being outside and being capable to take care of himself. I'm not sure, but he's saying that everything is good when you trust him. He's saying follow his lead, that when you trust him, he's saying that he will not misguide you. So
he feels that sometimes we don't trust him, maybe?
I think sometimes he does, but he says for the most part, and that may be why he sees you and your partner, I'm seeing that he sees both of you as other cats, that may be because you are trusting of him. I mean, he may be confirming that you do trust him, but he's saying that he won't misguide you, he won't mislead you if you trust him. Okay.
About that.
Yeah. What other questions can I look at for you?
Yeah. I was thinking too about how he has, well, I guess I wonder if he has any skills or
yes.
that we don't know about,
yes.
or that we don't recognize, or that we don't give him room to explore. So like things that he knows that he's good at that we're not acknowledging.
Okay, that's an interesting question, because a lot of the things that I wrote down before we started talking I'm not sure if this is what you're asking, but this is what he was sharing with me. He said that he has secrets. He said that he can travel to other realms, other dimensions. He said that he has a lot of magic around him and supernatural kind of powers. I mean, this is all coming from him. He was showing me an image of him walking through a wall, meaning that I think he can feel like and this may be because of his color, but when he's outside, he can feel like he's invisible.
Okay.
So it's almost like the Harry Potter invisibility cloak thing happening. So as far as...
Does he like to feel invisible?
Yeah, he loves it.
That feels like a power.
It feels like a power. It feels very powerful, empowering. He's saying that this has helped him, and he feels invincible when he's outside. He's funny because he's saying, when I'm inside, and you know how I was talking about the two different worlds, he's saying, when I'm inside, I'm hilarious. That's funny that he's saying that. He's like, I can be hilarious. And
When he's inside?
Yeah, he's saying I can be hilarious. So,
okay.
Yeah, I know. And he's like, I'm really good at being the inside cat, but I'm invincible. I'm powerful. I have this other life when I'm the outside cat. So he's like, I love my family. I love being in my inside world, but on the outside, that's when all my magic comes into play. And so that's interesting that you were saying, does he have any other skills? I don't know what you were thinking, but this is what he was thinking.
Yeah.
So why would you ask that question?
I guess because, well, I started started to think about him as a part of our family that provides labor and skills in his own way. And I guess I wondered if he felt appreciated for the things that he provides to our family or contributes to our family.
100%. 100%. There's not a part of him that doesn't feel recognized. So, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because he feels very validated in your family.
Okay.
Very validated. Did you feel like maybe he was missing something?
I wonder. Yeah, just because sometimes with all of his crying, just trying to get to the root of where that is, just
what's
boundaries
causing
not
that?
being communicated properly, or if it's some deeper existential malaise.
Yeah, I know. He's got, like I said, when you have this other world, it's kind of reminding me of when you have such a big other world, and you kind of switch gears. He's saying that sometimes to switch into the inside mode, that it takes him a while to get his game face off. It takes him a while to adapt. And that may be what's going on there. But he's saying, like, it's like coming off from, let's say he's a performer in front of a crowd of 100,000, coming off stage, and then it's like, it's shocking, because then he's coming into his home and it's a whole different energy.
Right.
He's saying, though, that he feels very validated. And the crying, though, I want to ask him more about that, because does it continue?
It can, yeah. I mean, it can go on for a long time. And I'll also say that when we lived in a different apartment, our first apartment, he wasn't really a crier. And then we moved, and the crying became a way of life. Yeah, and sometimes it'll happen for a really long time.
So, does it happen after he comes inside and continue, or does it sometimes just start?
It seems like it happens before, like in the mornings, before he's been let outside. That's a common time.
Okay.
And dinner, when we're trying to eat dinner, is another common time.
Okay. So you're trying to have a dinner, and he starts going off just starts crying and crying and crying. Okay. Okay. Let me ask him some more around this. Yeah, I'm still getting that there's a pull with this outside world. Do you feel, though, I want to ask you, do you feel that he's bored in any way?
That he's bored? Maybe. I mean, he seems, when he's inside, he's mostly sleeping.
Right. But that's not a bored thing. That's not necessarily.
Maybe he's doing some space-time traveling. I don't know what he's doing.
When he's sleeping? Yeah, so cats, he's 9, and so cats sleep quite a bit, especially the older they get. I mean, that's sort of what they majored in. They really have that down. So that's not a boredom thing. And they exhibit boredom by a restlessness, a wanting to get your attention. But when I'm asking him about that, he keeps showing me the pictures of the outside, wanting to get out there. He feels like Okay, hold on. This is getting a lot more clear for me. He feels like there are, it's very much his job at times to be out there. And when he's not allowed to be out there, he feels like he's letting down someone, and I'm not sure what that is, but he feels very pulled to the outside. And I feel from the picture she's showing me that this vocalization and this anxiety are around wanting to get out and take care of business out there. Now, does his body language show you that, or does he just sit there and meow and meow and meow?
I would say it's meowing and pacing.
Pacing.
So,
yep.
Yeah. So it could be,
Yeah.
it could be anxiety or could be boredom, like you're saying.
Yeah. Well, I'm asking him more about this, and it's, he really wants to be out doing his thing. Let me tell you, though, because he has, like, certain times when he can be out, that's when you have problems, when you're not able to just open the door and let him out.
Let him go.
Yeah, is that correct?
Yeah. Seems primarily like
Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. So there are some things that you could look into, and I can send you some links after we hang up. There are some holistic formulas. They're called spirit essences, and they're. Have you ever used Rescue Remedy or anything like that?
I haven't.
Okay, so it's made with flower essences. A lot of people are familiar with Rescue Remedy. People use that mostly, but you can also use it with animals. This is called Spirit Essences, and so you can go on the website and you can look at, you can match the behavior that the animal's exhibiting with the formula for that. So it's just a little bottle. You can buy a spray topper for $1 to go with it. I think they're about $25 a bottle, and spray it where they hang out the most. And there's one, I think it's called Restless something, and it's specifically for this type of thing. So it calms them down. So you can eat your dinner, you can get through stuff, and it calms them down. So they may not be able to have what they want, but they're not going to be so spun up about it. So these are things that you could try. And there's also something called Feel Away. Have you ever tried that before?
No.
Okay, so that's made with cheek pheromones of cats, and it's like a diffuser you can plug in, or they have a spray as well. You can use it like the Spirit Essences. It's kind of pricey though, and I think you can usually find it cheaper on Amazon and eBay, but rather than at a pet store. But it calms them down. The pheromones calm them down and get them more centered and grounded, and the vocalization should subside because they're very effective, and a lot of my clients have used them and had pretty good results. So that might be something you might think about.
Yeah.
Because I know the crying, the meowing, when they really want something, it's pretty relentless, and it can be pretty stressful to hear. So
yeah, everybody's stressed out at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So I can send you those links, and it's something worth looking into, I think. But I
wondered too if there are ways, if from his perspective even, if there are ways that some of the things that are good about outside could be replicated inside. Like if there's just certain things that he needs, certain kinds of spaces or certain kinds of stimulus.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing is it's more stimulus, that when he gets outside is like every sense is filled and satisfied, like smells, the sights, and just being on task. He loves the idea of being out there and really surveying his territory and keeping everybody safe. That's a big part of this for him. He really feels like he's protecting. And so when he doesn't get out there, it's like, but I'm letting you down. I'm not protecting our territory.
Who he feels that he's protecting?
Your family.
Okay.
Yeah, he's protecting you and your home and your property. So you live in
that's definitely a skill we're not really.
Oh, yes, you're right. You're right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's really important to him.
We need to his protection. We're thinking we need to protect him.
That's usually the case. I mean, you have an animal that you feel might be vulnerable going outside and such, and you have to keep them safe. But from his perspective is he feels like he needs to patrol and he needs to keep the territory, which is like your immediate neighborhood. He needs to keep that safe from other cats that are not welcome there. Cats that he doesn't know, from other predators, and he feels like he's protecting the property, and he's protecting the home, and he's protecting your family.
Okay.
That's important to him. So
that's important.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, even when you have him crying and being restless, I'm not saying that it's going to nip it in the bud, but also give him that communication. Like, we know you're protecting us. Thank you. We're okay right now. We're all safe. You can relax. And again, that may not make a dent, but that just hearing that communication and having that validation
could help.
Yeah, exactly.
So that way he knows that we appreciate that he's doing that kind of work.
Exactly.
But can also feel some of the burden taken off his shoulders.
Yes. Yeah.
That way he can know that we're doing that work too.
Yeah.
We can share that burden or that load.
Exactly. Very good, because it is really important to him. And when you said a skill, I wasn't, relating that as a skill, but of course that's a skill, and that's actually
like what he thinks his job is.
It's what he thinks his job is. So if he's not there to do his job,
right.
Well, hell is going to break loose. You know.
What's he there for? Yeah.
Yeah, so he feels like he's letting everybody down if he's not out there to do his job.
I see.
Yeah, I mean, and he's really good at his job. I mean, he's very, like I said, he's got all these superpowers, and on top of that, he's very strong and capable. So he's not, he doesn't see himself as vulnerable. But again, I understand. I have an indoor-outdoor cat too, and there are times when it is just not a good idea to have them outside.
Right.
So, I do understand.
Season, say.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, they can get kind of lost in their world out there, and so I do understand. But so that's really what that angst and anxiety is about, is like, I've got to do my job. I've got to get out there. You're counting on me. The neighborhood's counting on me. And so when he can't get out, it's like, oh my God. And he starts to pace and he starts to get restless.
Mm-hmm. And you were saying that he can move through other dimensions or feel that he is?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he can actually do that, but I have a feeling that he can actually do that. Because the pictures he's showing me are about feeling that invisibleness, being able to kind of hide in plain sight, or it's a very cool thing that he's showing me. And when he showed me walking through that wall, it was like the wall represented another dimension rather than walking through a wall in your home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's a traveler, and he also does a lot when he's sleeping. He does a lot of the, oh God, what's it called? Astral traveling. Do you know what that is? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I guess not exactly.
So we do it too. It's when you're in your dream state, and some people do it a lot more than other people. Some people don't do it at all, and same with animals. So when you're in the dream state, you're actually kind of out of your body and doing other things while you're sleeping. So, for example, you may be dreaming something, but you also may be out there in the world doing things that you have always wanted to do. I mean, there's no fear, there's no limits, and that's the perfect time for us to do the astral travel. That's what it's called. And I see that he does it quite a bit. So even
Sleeping too?
Yeah, oh, definitely. And so when he's sleeping, he's not just sleeping. He feels that, he's still doing his job, even though he's inside sleeping.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, because I was going to ask, that job of protecting, is that something that he only feels he can do outside? And I guess when he's awake,
yeah, the thing
he's
is,
like, I got to get outside, but then when he's sleeping, he's potentially doing some of that work.
He is. And
does he share what kinds of places he's going to in the more dream phase?
Let me ask him what I'm seeing here. So he's showing me outside of your neighborhood. He's showing me like a vast country setting, and he's just going and going, and it's almost like he lives. I mean, from the pictures, it's like a farm, kind of rural kind of setting, and he's just everywhere. And he's the thing is I think this is there's some symbolism in here, and that's how he feels when he's outside. He feels like there are no limits. He feels like there are no boundaries. He feels, again, it's that feeling of being invincible, where he can just go and just bound about, and but he's showing me a rural setting, and
okay.
So it's a vastness that he's showing me, where there's no limits. You can just run and run and run and climb and just be anywhere you want to be, which is kind of interesting, because that's how a lot of people describe astral travel, is that you can be anything you want to be, go anywhere you want to go. So it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm going to go to London on Friday night when I go to sleep. It's like you go beyond that, you go to like a London only you can imagine, where there are no charges, no prices, no boundaries at all. You can just go and create your own universes, and that looks like what he's doing in his dream state. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
He's a pretty special guy.
I wonder if he would like living in a place like that in the waking life.
Yeah, I think he would really, really flourish. The thing is that he has, what part of San Francisco are you in?
We live in the Lower Haight.
Okay. So he's in this urban environment, right?
Yeah, more so.
Yeah. I see him, he could be one of those cats that was absolutely blissed out being in a more rural environment and having having, all the trees and the birds and everything right there and not having to navigate around the city parts. But the thing is that he is very good at navigating around his world that he's in right now. So I don't think that you have to go find a farm or anything. I think he's very happy with what he has.
Okay.
He feels it's important for him to be there, regardless of what the setting is. He feels it's important for him to be out there in your neighborhood.
I see.
Because it's not about what can I get into, what can I do. More for him is it's about, in this particular situation, how I need to keep patrol and keep everybody out and keep everything safe. Yeah.
I see that. That makes sense.
Yeah, he's pretty special. I mean, he certainly doesn't, I know it's hard to see him when he's feeling that anxiety. And again, I know how stressful that is. But there's not a part of him that feels, with the exception of that situation, that he's not got everything he wants. He'd just like to have that access 24/7.
The only thing is...
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like for him to as well.
Yeah.
It's a complicated thing when you're sharing space in an urban setting like that.
It is.
With other people and their pets and the collaborating that humans do is maybe beyond comprehension.
Yeah, it's just not something that he doesn't understand because he doesn't understand the purpose of that. So by giving him that communication, again, he's not excited about that. He still thinks that's pretty lame, but it helps him understand where we're coming from, where you're coming from.
Right. Yeah, just to like level that field of communication better.
Yeah, and so even though he doesn't like it, he does get it.
Okay.
So that's pretty important when you're...
That is really good.
Yeah, he gets it. He just doesn't like it.
I have that about lots of things.
I know. We all do. We all do.
Don't like it.
And so that's where he's at on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's a really cool guy, and I like the idea of you looking at his protecting you as a skill. Yeah, I like that a lot because it's really important to him. Really important.
Yeah, okay. That's really helpful to know.
Yeah, so anytime you can give him communication like, thank you for what you did today. I know you did amazing stuff out there, and I feel safe, so thank you. I mean, all of that kind of stuff seems so silly, but it's, they really get what we're saying.
I mean, people like it.
Yeah.
People like that kind of validation
exactly.
and acknowledgement.
Yeah, and the thing about animals is that it's not... so you could be speaking French and he would still get it. It's not a language thing. When we are speaking, we are subconsciously forming pictures, and that's what the animals read. Like you've heard me mention many times about the pictures he's sending me. They communicate a great deal through telepathy and pictures. So when you're speaking and saying, thank you, I'm safe, thank you so much, he doesn't understand the words, he understands the pictures you're forming as you're saying that.
Okay.
So you don't have to try, you don't have to do anything differently. Just use your language and he'll understand, but he reads it by pictures.
I see.
So you don't have to think, oh my God, am I sending him the right picture? You are.
Okay.
It's just automatic.
Just by imagining it.
Yeah, it's just automatic.
by focusing on it.
Yeah, and so all we have to do is use our language because that's how we communicate. And they receive that information by reading what we're forming subconsciously, the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you were talking about thank you, I feel safe, thanks for protecting me, you're not aware that you're forming pictures around that. And that's what he's reading. And he feels validated by that.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I can try to do more of that.
Yeah. And so with the exception of not being able to have that open gate access, he's very, very happy with his life, It's not like, oh my God, I'm not getting enough, I'm not having enough, I'm not, it's that access that's making him a little crazy. So,
okay. And not knowing where the boundaries of that are.
Yeah.
Where the boundaries.
Yeah. So, but everything that you're doing, I mean, you are incredible with your animals, and you are so caring and loving with them, and they feel they're exactly where they're supposed to be. And I've always felt that. In fact, he told me, he was like, I picked them out. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I think that I'll send you the links, and that might help. I hope that helps.
Yeah.
When he kind of starts going nuts. Yeah. It's not so they come in little bottles, and you can, like I said, buy a spray top to add on to it for $1, I think. And you can zone in on specifically what the behavioral issue is. And you can spray it on your hands and then pet him, or you can spray it where he hangs out, like a cat tree or something, and it should help with the anxiety. And
okay.
Yeah, and so it's not something that will last a week. You'll need to do it like maybe every 12 hours, spray a little there, or when he starts acting out, give it a shot. But it's not something you would want to spray directly on him just because they don't like that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think just having this information will help both of you, and it'll be interesting to see how it develops.
How that changes things.
Well,
sure.
Yeah, exactly. It changes that dynamic. So, is there anything else that I can look at for you today?
Trying to think if there was another thing. Oh, I guess I wondered also if he had 2 other siblings, and I wonder if he remembers them and has any thoughts or feelings about their separation, because they were together even at the shelter. And yeah, I just wonder what that separation was like.
Yeah, let me ask him. So this is cool because he's looking at this in such a different way than you are. He's saying, we were supposed to be with them. They were supposed to be with someone else. So the way that he's showing it to me is as if that was not their purpose. So it's a more enlightened way of looking at this rather than I was sad when we were separated. It's more as if he's saying they weren't supposed to be with you and Craig. They had their own purpose that was separate from ours. So it's like they look at it as if, where am I supposed to be? What work am I supposed to be doing with whom? And so it's not, oh, that's funny. He just said to me, and James, that's kind of my nickname, he's like, James, I can talk to him anytime I want. It's like,
oh.
yeah, he's like, it's not like they have to be here. And so
Oh.
I'm like, yes, I know that. Like, he's sort of like, come on, you know this stuff. So he's saying, you
Does
know.
he do that a lot?
Yeah, he says it's not a lot, but they do like check-ins. And
Oh.
he's like, they're great. He's like, they're exactly where they're supposed to be. And they were kept together.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so they're together too. Which,
Okay,
you know, is kind of rare. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think this particular shelter was doing a really good job on insisting that cats be adopted in pairs.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, and especially siblings. Mm-hmm. So they were doing a really good job
I
of
love that. I love that.
kind of demanding that happen.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
And I always kind of wondered how Scott and his brother Mathematics were the two that were paired. You know, like, how did he get paired with Math and not with one of the other?
He's saying we were supposed to be here. He's like, Mathematics is doing what he's supposed to be doing. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. This is who we were supposed to be working with, which is how he's looking at it. Like, this is the purpose we were supposed to be on, and this is the work we're supposed to be doing with these people. So he's not looking at it like we got separated, it was horrible. He feels like it all was supposed to be that way. And it's as if he's saying, this is how we decided before you even showed up, kind of thing.
Right.
And he's saying that they have check-ins once in a while. And he's like, everybody's good. Everybody's real good.
So he does have some feeling of having some autonomy in
Yes.
that experience of
Yes.
being adopted, which from my perspective looks potentially like there's not autonomy there for them.
Yes. Exactly.
Interesting.
Very much so.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the thing that's so interesting for people about this work is that, you know, we have our human ideas and the things that we project, and we're not even aware that we're doing it, you know, and we're seeing these animals as, oh, these helpless poor animals, and, you know, then I talk to the animals and they're like, yeah, I'm taking care of them. And so it's really cool the way it can come
awesome.
out. Yeah, but he's doing real good. I think he's gonna be better when we start reinforcing that communication about. Find out that cat's name, the female cat.
Oh, the female cat who lives upstairs, I do know. Her name is Ellie.
Yeah. Okay. So use her name.
And she's the one that gets very chased. And then
Yeah.
there is a boy cat next door who is striped.
Okay.
His name I forget.
Okay.
Oh, no, I just remembered. His name is Mister.
Okay.
His name is Mister.
Okay. So you can use their names, you know, because when you're using their names, you're forming a picture of them. So
The cat.
yeah. So you can use their names. Say, like, Ellie needs time by herself outside. It's her time to be outside. And you need to stay in, you know, so she can have her time. You know, just give him that information and use their names.
Okay. I will do that.
Yeah, so my hope is that, you know, he'll calm down, and I think that the spirit essences or the other options will help get him there quicker, so you're not like an hour later going, oh, okay, I hear you. So hopefully that'll get him to that place quicker. Yeah, so I'll definitely send you those links.
That would be great.
Okay. Well, I had such a good time talking to you today. It was really fun.
Yeah. Me too.
And I hope that you'll keep me updated and let me know how things are going.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, excellent. And I will send you this recording probably within the next couple hours.
That would be perfect.
Okay,
I'm
thanks.
excited to hear it.
Good. Thank you, Renee. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very nice talking with you. Thanks so much.
You too. Bye-bye now.
Bye.